And so we put out a little Q&A, Spencer, to see if anyone had any questions for us in this sort of F1 bye week, if you will. And we did actually get a question about Adrian Newey. We got a question about how is this all going to work? And specifically, how is this going to work at a team where the owner of the team employs his own son to drive for the team in F1, despite very I wouldn't say overwhelming evidence, but despite a decent amount of evidence that he is not really like one of the top drivers in the sport. So
Yeah,
let's say hypothetically, Aston Martin builds a like super fast car.
sure.
Maybe not 2025. I know Lance Stroll just got extended. Fernando Alonso's sticking around next year, but let's say it's for the following year, 2026. Aston Martin comes out and they are super fast, and you have both of those guys still at the team. How is that all going to work? How are they going to figure that out when they are legitimately contenders in this hypothetical scenario?
Well, that is the assumption that they are legitimately contenders. But if I grant you that, then we're left with this scenario, which is hiring Adrian Newey to ensure that your son is a driver, the second best driver on the Aston Martin team. That's really what we're about here, because whoever is the other driver at Aston Martin, barring the rehiring of somebody with a proven track record of P19 or P20, like if they go out and get Logan Sargent, right? Like, no offense to Logan, but your numbers are your numbers. Unless they do that, and they won't make Lance Stroll number one, then we would be witnessing somebody who enjoys winning more than they enjoy propping up their son. That's what we would be seeing. Would you be shocked by that, Jessica, to see somebody as hyper competitive as Lawrence Stroll do that? Even if it's indirect, even if it's, I'll give my son every opportunity in the world, but I like winning. And he went and he hired a better driver who ended up outperforming Lance Stroll. Would that shock you?
Yes, I feel like we have a lot of evidence that he cares more about his son than about winning. In like just general, right? Wouldn't you say? I mean, he also maybe just has like a blind belief and faith in his son. And look, I'm not judging you for being a super rich person and doing something like this because there's no evidence to support the fact that I wouldn't do the same thing. If I like had a bajillion dollars and bought a team so I could have my kid be on the team, and let's be clear, like he's competitive. He's not the worst on the grid. He's definitely not the best on the grid, but he's also not fair to say he's not the worst.
I'm gonna get you in trouble at home here. Would you do that for your
Go ahead.
boyfriend? You said you would do that for your child. Would you do that if your boyfriend said, I would
Mhm.
really love to be an F1 driver and you had $28 billion? Are you going to make that happen?
Um. Yeah, I
You can
might.
plead
I
the
mean,
fifth. I mean, this is court.
I think I would have my boyfriend and my dog. They would be my number one and my number. My dog would be paws on the steering wheel. She's racing. It's gonna be like Airbud F1 edition. I don't know. I think that it's not gonna work well. To answer their question, I think we have evidence that Lawrence Stroll really does love his son and wants him to do a good job and be successful. And he loves him so much he's paying Adrian Newey like $30 million or something crazy to work for them. So I think this is just an extension of that love. He's like, I'm gonna make my son look even better because he's gonna have an even better car, and we'll figure it out when something bad happens. But for now, like this is all for him, and I guess you can't blame him.
How much does he love him? He loves him enough that Adrian Newey's reported salary at Aston Martin per ESPN F1 will make him 3,434 pounds an hour.
Ah,
And
that's crazy.
he doesn't have to leave the sceptered isle. Does not have to leave England.
I saw a one of the like F1 meme accounts post a Harry Potter meme of Draco Malfoy when
Hmm.
he shows up at Quidditch practice in the Harry Potter movie with like the fancy broom, and he's like, "That's right, Weasley. Unlike some, my father can afford the best." And it's like Lance Stroll showing up with Adrian Newey as his car uh car guy
Yeah.
in 2025. I love it.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work. It's obviously F1, lots of politics, and it's even more politics involved when it's like your own flesh and blood. and they're fighting for sort of like respect and legitimacy. But should be interesting.
I'm gonna
Kind of
bet.
fun.
I will reiterate. My bet is going to be on I like winning, and I'm going to prop my son up as much as possible while going after winning. Because I may be paying Adrian Newey to build my son a beautiful car, but he's got to build two of them, doesn't he, Jessica? And
Mm.
what if we just put a really good driver in that really good car? Wouldn't that be the best thing for my son? And in the back of his head, he's thinking, God, I want to win. I want to win so bad. The money, it's not the money at this point. Remember, these are rich people. It's never about the money past a certain point. This is about emotions.
Pride, usually.
Yeah.
Someone said, "What's the funniest outcome?" I mean, in like a dark way, I think the funniest outcome is that like they're still in like fifth place, even with Adrian Newey, and it's like this hype train over nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Maybe there's a funny. Can you think of a funnier outcome? Like Fernando Alonso wins the 2026 Drivers'
That I was
Championship. That's
going
pretty.
there. I was going with an ancient Fernando Alonso comes in third in the drivers. And Stroll is still in P7.
I mean, they signed an extension through 2026, and 2026 is the first year of a lot of F1 changes. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's possible. It's possible that it's a retooling year for a lot of teams.
It's entirely possible. The funniest possible setup involves a bunch of different variables, but it involves Aston Martin finishing ahead of Red Bull with Helmut Marko still being at Red Bull. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see like a 942-year-old Helmut Marko still behind the scenes running Red Bull and finishing behind a part-time Adrian Newey who's clearly like doing gardening in his spare time, but still making a better car.
Building his boat or whatever. Like
Right.
he wants to like sail around the world. Fernando Alonso is signed through at least 26,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and he is currently 43. So in this hypothetical situation, he is a 45-year-old F1 champion, which I think would be pretty funny and like honestly pretty cool.
I would be
Tom Brady who?
I would be totally in favor of this like old dogs saga with Adrian Newey and Fernando Alonso competing against again 948-year-old Helmut Marko for Red Bull greatness and an aging Toto Wolff too. Let's not Toto's not as young as you even think he is. I know everyone's like, "Ooh, he's older than you think he is." No, he's even older than that. He just looks great. That's it.
He's like what, 60?
Yeah.
He's kind of he's ageless to me.
He is ageless because I think he's one of those guys who when he turned 30, he turns 50 and he will be 50 until he's 70. That's he only has like, like he had a young period and then he went straight from
Yes.
18 to 30 and then from 30 to 50 and then from 50 to 70. He only ages in 20-year chunks.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that actually.